Here are my top 5 reasons that I like playing poker for a living. The first is that you don't have to be that good at it. I, in my life, have made about $14 per hour. I don't know every single year going forward if that's going to be the same number, but if we use that as my hourly, if you're dedicated to the hours and you play, let's say, 260 hours per month, my goal is always 310 per day, but it usually ends up more in the 260s. 260 per month for 11 months is 2,860 hours. I make $14 per hour. I have in my life. If I made that in my next 2,860 hours, that's $40,040. Now that's the gross. What would I net? Subtract your taxes and then subtract your bills. The taxes, it's tough to say before the year is actually done, but for being self-employed and for bouncing states, there are the possibility of some deductions, lodging, food, and miles. It really depends on how many different states I play in, and it also depends which ones have no state income tax, which ones do. If I made $40,040, I would probably pay taxes on a number in the low 30,000s, between 30,000 and 35,000, and that number, with the bulk of it being in Nevada, no state income tax, I would probably pay between 9,000, 9,500 in taxes for the year. So let's say 9,040, I think it would be closer to the bottom end. So if I grossed 40,040 and paid 9,040 in taxes, now I'm down to 31,000. I'm probably going to live on about $18,000 this year, subtract another $18,000 in bills, and I'm at $13,000. The year is done, and I've added $13,000 to my net worth. There are people who make $150,000 a year, and with taxes, and with all the kids they have, and the house payments, and all the fancy cars they have, there are some people who lose money. 150,000 turns into a negative number. So to play poker on your own time and make $13,000 net, not gross, the year is done and I've added $13,000 to my life, that's pretty solid. When I worked full-time in IT, I was only putting away about $1,000 per month. It was on pace for about $12,000 for the year. With those numbers I gave you, I could play the lowest stakes poker there are and not be that good at it. And if you're dedicated to the hours and smart with your money, you could make $13,000. It was more than I put away for the year when I worked in IT. The number 2 reason, you don't need to be hired to play poker. That is a very underestimated aspect of a lot of jobs. When I went to college, I was told when I graduate, I could pick any job I want. That wasn't true in the least. I got one job offer. I must have went on, I don't know, between 50 and 100 interviews. I got one job offer. When I went to grad school, I was told the same thing in my field. Everyone needs actuaries. You're going to get hired, no problem. I got no job offers. I couldn't get an unpaid internship. I got nothing. When I went to law school, I was told the same thing. Everybody needs lawyers, especially in the fields I liked. That didn't happen either. I had one unpaid internship, and I did not get a full-time offer from anybody ever. So you don't need to be hired to play poker. You just have to walk into the casino, and that's the end of it. In other jobs, you have to spend years and thousands of dollars getting to the point where you could even go on an interview. Like in law, gotta go finish high school, finish undergrad, get into law school, complete law school, and towards the end, you'll start applying for full-time positions. That is a ton of time and a ton of money. You don't have to do any of that to play poker. Find the casino and walk inside, that's the end of it. The third reason I like poker as a career, there's no cap on your hours. If you want to play a 100-hour week, you can play it. When I worked other jobs, you either couldn't just say, I want to work this many hours, put me on the schedule for that. That's not how it worked. In IT, it was basically work as much as you need to finish all of your work. and past 40 hours for the week, you might have to work that to complete all of your projects. You didn't get paid any extra for it. So it was actually worse. There were a ton of hours I put into that IT job that I did not get paid anything for. Here, I go play a 25-hour week, I get paid accordingly based on 25 hours. I play a 75-hour week, I get paid accordingly. I get paid based on my play for 75 hours. You want to play a lot of hours? You can. It's out there. That's one way to make more money. One way is to improve. One way is to find worse players. Another way is to just play more hours. You can do that if you want to. There's a lot of jobs where you can't. Reason number 4 is how easy it is to move. You can move anywhere there's a casino. If you live like me, it's very easy. I live in hotels and Airbnbs. I could leave any day I want. I have about the next 4 or 5 weeks booked right now. If I want to cancel all that and change my plans, which I have done, I can do that. I could cancel everything besides the stay I have right now at Excalibur, and I could be in another state later today if I felt like it, playing poker somewhere. It's very easy to move. Even if you lived in Vegas and had an apartment, you could buy out the end of the lease, or you could stay here through the end of that and move. You don't need a boss to okay a transfer in order for you to move and go somewhere else. You're your own boss. So if you want to do it, you can move. It's very simple. Reason number 5. It's a ton of fun playing poker. Other jobs I've had, they're like mildly fun when you're on break if you work with the right people. None of the other jobs I've ever had were fun while I was doing it. Poker is a ton, at least in the lower stakes. That's what I can speak to. I will say there are a lot of times I'm playing and there are 2-5 or 5-10 tables around and they look like absolute death. Everyone has headphones. Everyone is looking down at a screen. No one says a word. I don't get how the people can play in those games. They do somehow. There's no way they could be enjoying it. 1-2 doesn't have that nearly as much. Some people like bring an iPad and just watch movies the entire time or read books. I don't like that. It happens occasionally. On the East Coast especially, Baltimore and Atlantic City, even the regs over there, usually it's the people who aren't regs that make the game a lot of fun in Vegas. In the East Coast, it's the regs are great people for the social aspect of poker. I had a ton of fun at Borgata and Harrah's Atlantic City and the Horseshoe Baltimore. Maryland Live, not quite as much, occasionally. Low stakes poker is tons of fun a lot of the time. It's, I'm trying to think of another job where it's been like that. I can't think of anything besides like being on break at the movie theater where there was like a time to chat, or we had a 10-minute break I think each day at UPS, and those guys were pretty fun. So for those 10 minutes it was a good time. I can't think of another way I've ever made money where actually the work part, not the break, or not the the 10 minutes after work is done before you go to your car. I can't think of anything else that's fun at all, let alone as fun as poker is. Milwaukee was a ton of fun. I drove through St. Louis a few times. I played a lot in Council Bluffs and Oklahoma. It's very social a lot of the time. It is a ton of fun playing 1-2 and 1-3. It doesn't look like it's nearly that much fun playing 2-5 and 5-10. So those are my top 5 reasons that I like poker as a career. And yeah, there's the flexibility is probably number 1. The money, it's a solid amount you can make, even being average at low stakes. That's probably number 2. But those are my top 5 reasons, and I really enjoy it. This is a perfect example of what I was just talking about. Hours after I filmed that part about 1-2 being more fun than 2-5 and 5-10, I'm at an Aria table. There are two guys from Holland. This one that's in the picture with me is carrying around a camera, not a cell phone, a camera that when you take the picture prints out Polaroids. We thought that was like the coolest thing. We haven't seen a camera like that in a long time. Half of us at the table posed with either him or his friend and got a Polaroid picture of the two of us. This is me and Sander, and no chance anything like this is happening at 2-5 or 5-10 at Bellagio. No chance. 1-2 is so much more fun.